we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Yeah, Zoom is not necessarily my favorite because, I mean, it's awesome. You get to meet people that you would have never met otherwise.
Right, you have guests from all over that you wouldn't have otherwise, had the ease to come on the pod.
Right, especially out of state. I mean, like we had John Rinke from Tiger King. He's coming back next month for Tiger King 2.
He was so cool. He just pulled over in his truck.
He was just driving
Love
from
that.
and was just
somewhere.
hanging out in front of like a Lowe's.
His wife hopped in the
Love
back
that.
seat. And he's like, "All right, I'm yours for the next hour."
like sweet.
Awesome.
He was super cool. But you do you miss, because in person you have that
The energy,
that dynamic, and that energy in the room, and you don't have that. It's more immediate. You have the eye contact.
Yeah.
Like being in person, having a conversation. And I know I've talked about this before, but it's almost becoming like a lost art, like in something that is not as well known, or people aren't as comfortable with it as they used to be. Maybe.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree.
it's like I said when you got here, we live in such a fake world, and that's where podcasting is cool because it gives us an opportunity to be real, to share real stories, to relate to real experiences. It's a unique opportunity.
Yeah,
for sure.
Couldn't agree more.
And we're super excited about your podcast. Did that age well?
Thank you.
I mean, you've been so consistent. I mean, this is something Kevin and I preach every single week. Like you want to be successful, you're gonna have to have consistency, right?
That's
and so
right.
You've been showing up, doing it every single week. You're probably working on your 42nd episode, getting ready to do that next, right?
I sure am.
So that's awesome because when you came in, it was like 3 episodes in or something.
Yeah, I had just started it when I came in the last time. So it's exciting to, have a little bit more content, kind of have the hang of things a little bit now. I mean, I still have a lot to learn, but yeah, it's been cool having something, I'm like kind of the person who starts a project and then I get bored after 3 months and then I move on to the next thing. So it's been cool to see that this is not just like my 3-month project, that I want to keep doing this and I want to keep the energy behind it and all that.
That's
that
cool.
is awesome.
And when you start to yield results too, your whether it be followers or people chiming in or new guest opportunities, that's what makes you want to stick with it. Because this is a new challenge, new opportunities, new things to talk about. And what's cool about you is there's just so many movies and things to talk about.
Totally. There's never a shortage on content. There's always gonna be a big list of movies that either age well or don't, or are somewhere in between. And so, there's always people who want to talk about it. And also repeat guests, as you guys know, are a lot of fun. It's cool. There's always people, there are always movies. I feel like, I can keep this going as long as I still have the motivation to do it. And feels like I do right now.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
And sticking with it, that's really cool, the consistency part, because a lot of people do it. Life happens. You got this project comes up and this happens. I mean, there's been so many times where we've had to move things around. I'm sure you can relate to this too. When you commit to that Tuesday night, like you said, or Tuesday afternoon, whenever you do it, like just now, I had to go run and do work stuff, but I had to be back here. We got to do the cast. Exactly where you need to be every week, and it takes that commitment.
Totally. Yeah. And it takes some, I don't know how much time you guys spend editing and stuff like that. But for me, it's not super challenging, but it can be really time intensive, especially with guests who really love to chat, which are my favorite type of guests. But sometimes it's oh wow, we're gonna have to trim this down quite a bit, or maybe this isn't really that relevant for what we're trying to go for. But yeah, that can be time intensive, even if it's not that challenging, technically.
Yeah, I mean, just putting it together and thinking about it, right? Because you got to think about kind of what you want to do. Maybe you don't know all the little details, but it's okay, I got this basis for what I want to talk about. And then you got to schedule the person and coordinate dates. And then you got to have the equipment. That takes time. You have to have the software. So you have all that. And it's just, once you start adding it all together, getting the feed out there, having an RSS feed and actually building things. And it does take some time. If you want to come just record and make podcasts, that's awesome. But, I've always preached that I love coming here, and that's why I come here every week, is because I enjoy it. And it sounds like you're enjoying what you're doing. And I feel like that's really one of the keys to being successful is just having fun with what you do.
Yeah, if it's not fun, why do it? You know, like that's kind of my motto. I have a ton of fun with it. It's like such a cool way to meet new people, and I've had the chance to talk to a lot of other podcasters and comedians who I really like, or people who are into pop culture who I didn't previously know personally, who I've just like reached out to on social media, like, hey, what's up? I think you're funny. Do you want to be on the podcast? And overwhelmingly, people are like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to see that kind of collaboration with people in the podcasting community and people in comedy. And then also, of course, it's fun having my friends on, people who I've known for a long time. It's always fun to like have an excuse to hang out for a couple of hours and talk about movies and stuff.
With a couple of microphones in front of you. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
That's I mean, that's essentially how we started too. You know, and you go back and listen to our old stuff, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You know, and 122 of these later, still don't know
What
if we
are
really
we
know.
doing?
Yeah, we're just sitting down having a chat.
Well,
Yeah.
we were just talking about that. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Yeah, we're just having fun, and other people get to be a part of it too.
It's cool.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
just such a cool thing, you
Yeah.
know, and the experiences and the opportunities that that's opened up with, like you said, because we've been in that same boat. Just you don't know until you ask. You know,
Totally.
we reached out to John Rinke or someone from Hell's Kitchen, like, hey, you want to do the cast? They're like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, met some great people, and it's kind of honoring to a certain extent, especially because we're not celebrities starting a podcast. We're people that are working a normal job starting a podcast.
Yeah.
And so you have that obstacle to overcome as far as getting listenership and people that are willing to come onto your show. Like, who are you even?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that it's always kind of humbling and it's cool to make those connections. And I guess I could echo off that a little bit in life. It's okay. It's good to make connections and friends that are in person, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, and maybe try to do something that brings you out of your normal routine. Like if you are into reading, like maybe joining a book club or playing board games with people. It's like try to get yourself out there to meet people. Go to a dog park if you have dogs.
Yeah.
Just try to meet if you're like out there alone or something. I don't know where I'm going with that. But
Do something out of your element. Maybe,
Yeah,
you know?
get out there.
because you never know
Try it.
what's around the next corner, and life is so fun for that reason. Like I had a nice moment when Kevin had to go work because he left me here, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on a walk and be productive with my time. So I ended up going on this walk, listening to music. Like I had the goosebump moment, thinking about life a little bit, just seeing the trees and how the seasons are changing, and it's just I did partake in a small bit of marijuana prior. I know you're going to ask me, Molly. So, yes, I did. And maybe that's why it was so amazing. But it's about enjoying the little things.
Yes.
The little things.
Yeah, whatever you need to do to get there. Hell yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's whatever's going to release that dopamine, those endorphins. Sometimes it's just being high on life. Sometimes it's meeting someone new that gives you an opportunity, that feeling of excitement and joy, that fulfillment. Love it.
Yeah.
When you never know what's going to come of that, right?
Right.
You never know.
And you never know until you try.
Yeah.
It's good
You
to-
really don't.
Yeah, and it's good to try new things. It's like going on different podcasts, We're going to do your show, which will probably be a very different experience than this,
I'm super
Yeah.
excited
but probably
for that.
very similar.
Yeah, I'm
You
super
know?
excited too.
Yeah.
I remember last time that we talked about like what movies you guys watched when you were younger, but now I can't remember. So can you remind me?
Yes. I forgot to.
I forgot. Yeah, I mean,
All right, cool.
that's what being podcasters, we can't remember. Now, do you listen to your episodes back
I do, yeah.
in their entirety?
Yeah, I am very self-centered, so yes.
Okay. I was just saying this on Left Hand Right Brain last week that I'm more apt to listen to a show I go on than to my own show, which is weird.
That is interesting, yeah.
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 I don't know where I was going with that.
I'm
but
in
I
the
had a
same
point.
boat with that. But so the movies, some of mine that were my favorite growing up, I would have to say, I'm under 12 years old, I'm saying. It has to be some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies,
Definitely.
right? Like all those, especially the one where they're in Japan and stuff. I thought that was really cool. I watched that like dog movie where it was like the dog had a cat friend and there's like two dogs and
Oh, Homeward Bound.
yeah, Homeward Bound.
Great movie.
Nice. That's a
Yeah.
great movie.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah,
to
that's a
do.
good one. It's going on the list.
Homeward Bound. And then there was that one Disney movie where I just that one just left
There's a
me.
lot of Disney movies.
Yeah, so you go now, Kev.
Well, I mean the Homeward Bound, that was excellent. Beethoven came to mind when you said that because I love the first one. The second one was kind of weak sauce.
Yeah, I agree.
First one was good. I actually just watched it on Netflix a couple weeks ago because I hadn't watched it in years.
It's on Netflix?
And I thoroughly enjoyed watching it again.
Cool.
So in my mind, it did age well.
Yeah.
You know, I watched it as a 32-year-old man. I'm like, it's still a great movie.
So is that like the premise? Like, so it's enjoyable to watch still. Is that?
Yeah. So some of them are and some of them aren't. Like, so I'll invite my guests on and I'll ask them to pick a movie that really made an impression on them when they were young. So sometimes it's movies that they really loved when they were young. And if they need ideas, I have this like big running list of movies that I watched and movies that people recommend to me. Like a lot of my friends will constantly be like, wait, have you guys talked about Shrek yet? Is that on the list? Or like, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. I'm actually going to record an episode on Shrek with my friend's sister sometime in the next couple of weeks. But I'll like send them a list and then they'll either pick one or they'll just like ask for more suggestions. And then we'll talk about like whether it aged well or not. Like usually kind of just like going through the plot, talking about the movie. But in the context of like, how does this hold up? So some of them we used to love and we still love now, and they hold up pretty well. Some of them we used to love and now we really don't like them and they aged pretty bad. But a lot of them are like somewhere in between. And there's some movies, like for instance, Dumb and Dumber, the one that I covered this past week. Like I never really loved Dumb and Dumber. My guest Sam Evans loved Dumb and Dumber, still loves Dumb and Dumber. Still one of his favorite. Yeah, he was very enthusiastic about it.
It was the funniest movie ever.
Yeah,
right?
He said one of the funniest movies
and you were surprised
ever.
by that.
I was shocked.
It was funny how you handled it. I mean, it's always cool when you start. Was he a repeat guest or?
No, actually, he was. Okay. It was a first time guest. Yeah.
Okay, well, you were super chill then because like when you start to get to know people, then you can kind of. Because I always tease my friends and people that I know well, and like I'm being sarcastic and I'm just joking, I swear. But it's kind of fun when you get at people a little bit, you know?
Yeah, totally. Even basically strangers, you know?
Makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah, sometimes having a podcast is like a great way to kind of like talk to someone who you might not be close friends with, but you can have a conversation the way that you would with a close friend.
Totally
you know,
true.
There's like something really special about that space, and I think like in person too makes a huge difference.
And it carries over too. Like the experiences I've had on the cast have really helped me in my professional career, in my personal life, with relationship communications, what have you. You know, I think it all definitely carries some value.
Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
The lessons learned, the people you meet, and so if you're prospecting a guest, you give them 3 movies to choose from. They're like, okay, I want to do this one. Do you recommend that they go through then and watch that film, take notes? Okay.
Yeah, so really all of the prep work is just rewatching the movie, and I tell them, if it's helpful for you, jot down some notes of like things that stand out or things that you want to make sure you talk about. And that's pretty much it. I used to, at the beginning, have my guests create some trivia questions for me as well. We play this game called Almost Movie Trivia, where I come up with a list of questions based on a theme that's somewhat related to the movie. So it's like 4 steps removed from the movie, but it's a trivia game basically. And I used to ask my guests to also come up with trivia questions. And then it was like, you know what? These episodes are like, they're already like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
I can come up with trivia questions. I don't need to like I can do the heavy lift, as if it's really a heavy lift. It's like me for an hour looking up random stuff on Wikipedia and just like going down a rabbit hole and coming up with trivia questions based on that for fun.
Sometimes it's hard to keep coming up with solid questions. Like, because I started off doing 3 would you rathers every week, and then I've missed some weeks. Sometimes it's 2.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't fit in.
Yeah, sometimes they don't fit in. I'm just like, I can't ask this right now.
Yeah. Last week I literally just forgot to create Almost Movie Trivia questions. It was like the first time, episode like number 41. And I just forgot to do that thing that I do every single week.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah.
And that's okay, because the episode's still fired off great,
Yeah,
and
thanks.
Yeah. And we see that, like, again, with the Would You Rathers, sometimes we have Word of the Weeks, sometimes we don't. And sometimes we have them on deck and it just doesn't fit into the app. But
right.
It's nice to have that content available if you want to work it into this program.
For sure.
That's true.
Is that your transition into working that into the program?
Oh, I mean, that is a good
Sometimes.
segue.
Or is that what we're going to do?
Well, I had a movie-related one.
Oh, let's talk about that.
But
All right.
I just had to say this. I like that it's almost like you give people a homework project prior to coming onto your show, but it's like such a fun homework project that everyone's more like, oh, I have to watch a movie tonight.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. So I think that's great. I just wanted to highlight that a little bit. So with this one, I know you're into movies, right? So I had to ask one about that.
Okay.
So imagine all of your favorite movies, right? I'm sure there's hundreds, right? You love so many movies. Let's say that you could only watch them each once in your life ever, right? So you can only watch each movie once.
Okay.
Would you rather be able to watch all of the plot build-up points, like all the plot build-up points, but never get to see the end, the climax of the movie? Or would you rather be able to see some of the main... wait, hold on, I lost my spot. Or get to see the movie, but without some of the main plot points in the film, but see the end.
Okay.
So it's basically like you can only watch your movies once.
Mm-hmm.
You either get to see the main action sequences and the build-up, and you get to know all that intimately, but you never get to know how it ends. Or you kind of see some of that stuff, so you don't really understand the ending as well, but you get the ending.
Okay, I'm going to say probably... I felt really confident at first, and now I'm second-guessing myself. You know what? Okay, I am going to go with being able to watch through, like, the main plot points and not get to see the end. Because I think that it's easier to fill in the end in my head or, like, make it up if I have all of the context and, like, all of the story build-up. Kind of like reverse engineering that could be a fun activity, but not the way that not how I want to spend my time watching a movie.
That makes
you know
sense.
what I'm saying?
So,
Yeah, that does make sense.
So you're watching all the juice, and you're going to come up with your own ending.
You're gonna,
I
you're
think
gonna
so.
fabricate and manifest it on your own. I kind of like that, actually. It makes because the would you? I mean, that was the most Frankenstein would you rather.
Hey,
I loved it.
It took me a while to
now.
say it into my phone. Like I had to like, wait, I need this sentence to say something. Like, so it took me a while to put it down.
Because my initial reaction was, well, I want to see some of the plot and then the end. But I kind of like what you said, because it's like now you can kind of create your own ending. Because there's so many times we watch these great movies and then the ending happens, and I'm like, what the hell was that?
Totally.
You know, cliffhangers or just like bummer endings. I want to go out with that thing thinking how I ended it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can totally. I'm on board. This is unanimous.
Yes.
That's a
It
unanimous
absolutely
decision.
is. Like, because one of the things that came to my mind when I was putting this together was Game of Thrones and how great
the
all
controversy.
that was. How great it all was. I mean, when season 7 ended, and before they started season 8, I was reading all of these different types of ways it could end. And some of those were very thorough, detailed, and I thought those were better than what ended up happening.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of frustrating.
Sometimes I really prefer the predictions instead of the real ending. Like, especially with like a limited series or a TV show. Like, people on the internet are crazy, and I love it. Like, coming up with their predictions of what's going to happen or like their fan theories or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes like fans know a show so intimately, and people can be so creative that the stuff that they come up with, that they predict or that they like want to happen, can be more interesting than what actually happens. Yeah.
That's kind of how The Sopranos was, because I just, no spoilers here, I did watch The Many Saints in Newark, which just dropped last Friday night.
Oh, nice.
The Sopranos story, it's the prequel to The Sopranos. I don't know if you ever watched that series.
I never watched the series, but I'm familiar that the prequel came out last week.
So good. It was really good. It lived up, I say as a Sopranos fan, no spoilers, it lived up to what I expected, what I wanted to see.
Nice.
And I was satisfied with it, for sure. Solid.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I want to see for sure. That looks
Check it out. It's on HBO
looks like
Max.
a good one. I know. It's just finding the time. You know, I'm a very busy man right
I
now.
understand.
HBO Max
nowadays.
sponsor the pod, please.
Yeah, HBO Max. Let's go.
I know. Let's go. HBO Max.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I was just going to say, yeah, that would be a perfect thing because, like, you always want sponsors because I was thinking about sponsors and kind of where you see like on YouTube channels what kind of sponsors they have is kind of tailored to what they do a little bit.
Right.
So I feel like you know, a movie streaming platform could be a great sponsor.
I agree.
For what you do.
Yeah.
Have you reached out for some sponsorship opportunities?
HBO, slide into their DMs. No, I have not.
Maybe Sling or like any of those stream services.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. The worst they can say is no,
That's
right?
it. You don't know until you ask.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I wanna go back to your comment about the prequel. So, technical question: can you spoil a prequel if it's leading up to
Oh, that's a good
the
question.
original thing? I mean, ultimately, we kind of know how the prequel ends because it ends with whatever the beginning of the thing
of
is.
The Sopranos starts as. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. You know, I think it more for me, it's like because there's some juice in there that we learn. You know, there was things that were touched on in The Sopranos that they really went into a little bit more depth on in the prequel that I won't go into, you know, spoiler-wise.
Sure.
But you're right, because we all know kind of how it gets to where it's at. But this really expands on the story that was not told well throughout The Sopranos.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. I give it a solid 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed.
High praise.
And I was really looking forward to it for last year because it got delayed because of COVID. So I've been looking forward to this movie for like 3 years.
Yeah, so the hype has been growing and growing.
Yeah.
I'm so relieved to hear that it lived up to your expectations.
Yeah, I was very satisfied, actually. And shout out to Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's biological son. He played a tremendous part in that movie.
That's epic.
Hell yeah.
That's epic. I mean, to get your own son
To play a younger you.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Like
yeah.
how much better does it get?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Everyone should watch it.
It's like when, what movie was that? Straight Outta Compton, when Ice Cube's son played Ice Cube. I thought that was pretty cool.
Didn't that happen with another film, too? Or no, maybe I'm thinking, what was that one that covered, was it Motley Crue, The Dirt?
The Dirt, yeah.
I guess that wasn't anybody's sons. It was just well done acting, I think, that really portrayed their wild life on the road as a rock and roll band.
Yeah.
That stuff's awesome.
I like movies like that, though, because you see the music videos, you hear the stories, sex, drugs, rock and roll, and then it dives into that, and you're like, damn, that shit's wild.
Damn. They weren't kidding.
They were not
said that.
kidding. I like
No,
docs like that.
Life is a crazy trip, you know, and there's so many things that you could trip over,
Right.
You know, so it's just it's ridiculous, man. And sometimes I sit here and just contemplate on how crazy it is outside of, you know, if I just went 20 minutes that way, I could probably get into some shit, or like it's just, you know, it's odd. And then there's all these different spectrums of self-awareness and like obviously there's credit spectrums, there's like wealth spectrums, but like the self-awareness one is what really interests me, because, you know, people who are like lost and blaming others all the time, like, and like I'm thinking about homeless issues and stuff. Like I know there's a lot of mental health there and a lot of problems there, and it's not being addressed. But also, like, you know, how are these kids raised before they became adult and homeless? And it's just, you know, the self-awareness of like, you know, being aware of your own issues and situation. Like it's just important. So I always kind of like to talk about something like this every week. And it's just because, you know, I'm trying to get better with my own life, so I use it as a reminder. But yeah, just the self-awareness, like, you know, if you're not into something, or if you feel the urge to do something else and do something bigger, then, you know, just don't silence yourself. Like, and I think it's awesome to be around people like you, because we're talking about podcasts and how, you know, we have this energy and we get an energy in a room. But to go out there and keep hustling every single week and getting people in, like, and just surrounding myself with that kind of energy. I know I'm rambling now. I don't know what this point is, but I had some things I needed to say right here.
Thanks for saying it. Thanks for getting it out.
Yeah, it feels good.
It's good to get things out, you know, air them out there. To echo that, it's good energy, you know, and I love connecting with podcasters too, because especially in the Denver area, because we really want to see Denver be a great podcast city. You know, LA held it down.
It already is.
It is a great podcast city.
This place is awesome.
And we're just putting a little elbow grease on it. We're making it really shine.
Yeah.
You know, because LA kind of held it down for a while. That's kind of going away. Those guys are moving. You know, so Denver has a lot of room to offer some great podcasting content. And I love connecting with Denver podcasters. They're right here in our backyard.
Hell yeah. Couldn't agree more.
It's so much fun. Man, I just got to say here, I got another Would You Rather here. And actually,
Great.
I had more of a question for you.
Okay.
Because I don't think I asked you this last time you were on. But,
Okay.
What is your favorite music?
My favorite music?
Yeah, like what's your genre?
So usually I am into kind of like indie rock and indie pop, but I also like hip hop and I like garage rock, just like a lot of noise. That can be really fun too. But yeah, I would say just like most generally like stuff in the indie rock persuasion.
Now, do you like the new indie rock? Because indie rock's been around. Would you say it started in the 90s?
Yeah, I'd say it started in the 90s, like late 90s, like Radiohead stuff is usually like what people cite as the beginning of indie rock. Maybe even a little bit earlier than that. But yeah, probably like mid-ish 90s.
I kind of picture the grunge scene contributing to that too. You know, the
Yeah.
Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, they kind of, because that was like that alternative metal rock that was coming out, and then it kind of grew into like Creed and Audio Slave and Chris Cornell.
Right.
Good stuff. Love all of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like, thinking about the history of genres. Like, it's hard to say where, like, grunge ended and alt-rock started. Like, you know, that type of thing. It all kind of, like, blends together. Like, when you really, like, look back at where a music genre comes from, it all...
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it evolves too. I mean, look
Yeah.
at like Metallica, you know, they were kind of the staple of rock and roll in the 80s. They held it down. The 90s, they took a long time to really write a good record. A lot of Metallica fans will say, you know, the Black Album was one of their best albums. And then you had all this grunge and stuff, kind of Nirvana. Nirvana's gone down as one of the greatest rock bands of all time, but they had such a different sound, that Seattle kind of rock and roll.
Totally.
And all that combined, you know, then Metallica comes back in the early 2000s. And it's just cool to see how the decades, the music transitions depending on what's going on. You know, and then things come back. Like we're starting to hear those old trends come back. I love hearing synthesizers now in music. It's cool. It's like the 80s are coming back.
Yeah, totally. I feel like the past, I don't know, maybe like 5 years, there's been a big like resurgence of like 80s style synths. And it's almost like a lo-fi electronic, which seems like really counterintuitive, but it's fun.
It is cool.
It is fun. I mean, the synth wave, and there's like a bunch of waves now. There's any type of wave you want, like a low wave, a high wave,
A chill wave.
Yeah, you could even catch a surf wave. You know.
I mean, you're not going to do that here in Denver, but
I know. But so the synth wave, like there's a game on the PlayStation called No Man's Sky, and it's basically like a space exploration survival game. And so I'll get pretty entrenched in that game and just put on some synthwave.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to kind of just disconnect for a little bit.
Totally.
What would you say are your favorite ways to kind of mend the mind and forget about the woes of reality?
Good fucking question. Lately, I've been, okay, so I'm not just saying this because I'm a podcaster, but lately what I've been doing, and I think that this really peaked in the pandemic for me, but like throwing my AirPods in and just like listening to a podcast as I like, you know, do whatever around my apartment, or when I'm like working on a puzzle, or when I'm like, you know, just kind of on a walk or something. That has been really great way for me to just kind of like soothe my mind and be able to like listen to something that's like moderately distracting and like something to kind of like, it sort of like gives my mind like something to do, but without being like all consuming. Like I can still like do my dishes while I'm listening to a comedy podcast or whatever, you know?
Exactly.
I can relate to that too. When it comes to podcasting, I like putting on King and the Sting or something like that. I can laugh to and just unwind. Listen to those guys, you know, just banter and giggle along. You know, whereas before it was like if you just throw a radio on or just, you didn't really have control. We have so many options now.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's like, I don't like what I'm hearing right now, you have the option to just change it. You're not stuck listening to it.
Totally.
So it is a good way to, I typically do music, like when I'm doing cleaning, doing dishes, I'll put in like some hard rock and I'm just sitting there like scrubbing to that hard beat, getting that grime off, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I get
yeah.
down.
You know, I've found it interesting, like the past, I think like really since the beginning of the pandemic, I really haven't listened to as much music as I have in the past. Like I used to listen to music when I was doing anything. And now I've spent probably more hours listening to podcasts than I do like any other content, whether that's like music or TV or whatever. Maybe like equal with TV, but yeah, like sometimes I kind of I'm kind of like, oh, do I listen to podcasts too much? Am I like losing touch with like the music that I've been into? I don't know.
I think it's interesting what you're talking about, because in podcasts, there's literally a podcast about
everything.
Every single subject is being covered.
Everything's been touched. Yeah.
So you can find something that can motivate you. You could find something that you're interested in, like a thrillers, like the murder mystery ones and stuff like that, or the comedy ones, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So I would say, as long as you're giving yourself variety and you don't overuse one of those too much, then that's the perfect way
everything
to do
in
it.
moderation, right?
Right. Yeah. Could be a lot worse.
Like there's a lot worse things you
There
can
are a
listen
lot
to.
worse things I could be doing.
Yeah, to
That's for
unwind
sure.
from the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
That's self-explanatory at that point. Now, do you do any of those murder mysteries? Are you into that at all?
I used to be a big fan of My Favorite Murder, and then I kind of dropped off a little bit. Like, I just kind of, I don't know really like what happened, but I just didn't really listen as much over the past year.
Did you start becoming very suspicious about people's activities around you?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Developing paranoia and unable
Yes.
to sleep well at night.
Yeah, 100%.
People get really drawn into those stories.
Yeah,
my
they
girlfriend
really do.
falls asleep to Dateline every night, and it's very alarming.
Yeah, totally. My sister and my brother-in-law, they still like record shows because they're like, elders, but they they like still record stuff on their cable, and they record Dateline like
What are they
every
recording
night.
it with though? Like how old school are we talking here?
They're
Like DVR?
like Xfinity recording.
Okay. So it's like I was gonna say
Yeah.
we're not popping in a
We're
VCR
not
here.
we're not talking about
That's
TiVo.
nostalgic.
Okay, we're not going that far back.
Yeah. But they are like recording like scheduled programming and then watching it later.
Do you need another seltzer?
Oh, I'm good, thank
You're
you.
good. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's hey, why don't you grab me one while you're in the fridge there, Kevy? Thank you, sir. Sorry to interrupt your thought, though.
No, that's okay. That was pretty much the whole thought. Was just I was just trolling my sister and my brother-in-law.
That's
always
a great
fun,
place
though.
to be.
That's always fun to do a little trolling.
Kevin and I
Yeah.
make fun of each other
Constantly. It doesn't
Love
stop.
it. Love it.
Yeah, it's always, like, I don't know, one button too many, Kev?
Is it?
No, I'm just giving him a hard time.
I put on a little weight, so recently he's been getting at me about my belly.
No, because I got chunky too, and like I had this whole period where I'm like looking at myself on camera. I'm like, bro, and I had to just let it go. I just had to like,
Yeah.
and the gray's coming in. I just had to let it go, man.
I love the
Like,
gray. Gotta be
yeah.
honest. I think it looks great.
Oh, thank you. That's
welcome.
nice.
You
Yeah,
gotta embrace it.
I've been doing my best to make me feel more confident.
That's good.
Hell yeah.
So because it's like in life you can't change everything, and it's just like,
No.
why get upset or get overly obsessed about things that, what is the value of that, honestly?
Right.
Like what my mind is thinking about is so important to me, and it's just like watching all like the murder stuff. Like you're going to sleep about it, like you're thinking about it, like you start becoming paranoid, like you start having dreams about weird stuff. Then you think, could this person be? And then you become kind of consumed with that mentality.
Right.
Or like even, with like some video games, I'll overplay a video game and then I'll be dreaming about that game that night because of how
Right.
obsessed so it's just like moderation.
Yeah.
Just,
You've got chill wave running through your head at all times from playing your game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have dreams where I'm trying to find resources, refine the resources in my dream because this one's really rare. And like all night, I think this was either the last night or the night before, but I literally dreamt about.
Were you full asleep though, or was that one where you're just like kind of half asleep?
Oh no,
'Cause that's what happens to me.
I REM rebound well and just get good. I get good REM sleep. Like I
for you.
generally can remember my dreams.
Nice.
If I think about them within the first, 10 to
minutes.
2 minutes after I wake up. Like
Yeah.
it has to be immediate thought.
Yeah, I've heard that if you keep like a little notepad next to your bed, like if you want to remember your dreams, if you keep like a little notepad next to your bed and like the second that you wake up, even if it's like in the middle of the night, you just like write down everything that you can remember, that like you'll train your brain to better remember your dreams. I'm no scientist and I have no idea if that's actually
I've
true,
heard
but
that
I'm
same
pretty
thing.
sure that I heard that in like a high school psych class. So maybe I do know what I'm talking about.
She knows what she's talking about.
I would think so. I mean, you did graduate with a master's this year, bro.
Thank you. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's super exciting.
Yeah,
Thank
bravo.
you. Thank you.
We were kind of joking again. We're like, man, Molly's gonna. She's smarter than both of us combined.
Yeah, we were saying that.
Bringing all that knowledge.
I
in
don't
here.
know about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Like, I feel like for me, getting my master's, like, it was cool. It was fun sometimes, but at the end of the day, like, group projects are group projects, and they suck just as much when you're in your late 20s as they did when you were in middle school. Like, it's the exact same thing. Doesn't matter. Like, people are just as dumb in like grad school as they are when they're in high school. So
I would be willing to believe that.
yeah. So yeah. At the end of the
I
day,
don't have much faith in humanity. It's I'm right there with you.
cool.
Yeah.
Glad we can all agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's stupidity throughout all walks of life, all levels
Yeah.
of education, all levels of wealth.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Occasionally I'll do that one thing like in my car or something where it's just like, okay, if I watched me, I would have thought I was stupid there. So I try to give people some, like, because we all mess up sometimes. Like,
Sure.
Like I have my dumb moments for sure, and I'm gonna recognize those because it's a beauty of life,
It is.
And to just roll with the punches is a lot of fun, and it's fun to put them out while you roll with them because that's kind of being a little. Having fun with your guests and being like, well, why would you say that? And just like things like that kind of energy. Like life is too short to like not really thoroughly enjoy your time.
I agree.
And so that's why I was talking about. I just like to know what my mind is thinking. That is so valuable to me to have my mind in the right place, like enjoying the view and all that. But I wanted to know because you were asking us your movies. So what were some of your childhood movies? So we could get the insight on you.
Okay, so I was born in 1994, and I have an older sister who's about 4 years older than me. So a lot of the movies that I really loved when I was a kid are mostly like romantic comedies from the late 90s and early 2000s. So movies like Legally Blonde, Miss Congeniality, Mean Girls was a big one, 10 Things I Hate About You, like kind of like movies that are geared toward teen girls for the most part. I like kind of hit that target demo when I was in like middle school or like late elementary school, and so those are the movies that I tend to hold most dear when I think about what ages well and what doesn't. But I think what's really cool about the podcast is that I've had a chance to still like talk about movies that I have loved, and maybe there are a lot of things that don't hold up, but it doesn't really make me love it any less, or I can still like appreciate it for what it was in that time. Like, okay, for instance, my favorite movie from high school until like a year ago was Garden State, or not even a year ago, like a few months ago.
Is it still your favorite? You can just admit it.
It's not my favorite anymore, and I'll tell you why. Because I rewatched it for the podcast, and I went into it like, keep an open mind. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of nostalgia, but like try and have a critical eye and see like what ages well, what doesn't. And I think going into it with like through the lens of like I'm an adult now, and also having been like, I don't know, like a little indie hipster high school kid, I really like overestimated how good it was. Like, it had been a few years since I'd seen it, and I was really like, damn, is this the same movie that I thought was like the best fucking thing to ever happen to cinema ever? And when I rewatched it, I was like, you know what? It's not the best. Like, it's still a good movie. There's still a lot about it that I really love. But even though it was like, wow, this is a bummer that my favorite movie is not my favorite movie, I still really appreciate it for what it was at that point in my life. Like, when I was, like 15 and I saw it, I would like... Yeah. The way that it made me feel and the way that it changed my perspective and how it formed my taste in movies and TV and like all kinds of pop culture moving forward it's still like good in that vacuum, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
It does make sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And everyone's going to have a different perspective on it, too. You know, the way
Totally.
Someone might watch the film and go, well, I saw this. And someone might go, well, I thought that was extremely funny. And that's where it's like cult movies get interesting. Do you ever mess with the cult movies?
Totally.
Yeah, I would look at like Jay and Silent Bob, going back to that time frame.
That's a cult movie?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I think it's a cult.
I thought you were talking about like an actual, like a movie about a cult.
Well, no,
Movie
like
about
Napoleon
cults.
Dynamite. That was a cult film.
Totally.
I feel like. And then you can go back even further than that. What was that one movie in the early 90s about the guy that had the imaginary friend? What was that?
Oh, yeah. Shoot, what was that called?
I just had it. It's gone.
It happens.
It does happen.
But
But
so
cult movies.
I couldn't just have a favorite movie. Like
There's
just
too many good ones.
Just like I don't have a specific best friend. Like I love all my best friends the same, and they all have different places. And that's how I look at movies. Like you know, I can't just have one favorite one, but like this one's binge worthy right now, sort of thing. But like one movie that I keep going back to time after time is Django Unchained.
Oh, that movie
With Denzel?
fucking awesome.
That was
it Denzel?
It wasn't Denzel.
No, it was Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah,
That's
you
right. I
hit
can
the
picture it
nail.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good one because I like those dark movies that kind of it's hard to ignore. Like,
Makes you feel something.
You need to, like we need reminders sometimes, and like because we got it pretty good right now, and you know a lot of problems are great problems to have.
Yeah.
You know, so movies are awesome. It's like a gateway.
How about American History X? Did you ever do that with Ed Norton
one.
and Ed Furlong?
No, but
You've never seen that?
No, I've never seen it.
1999, powerful
All right.
movie.
It's going on the list.
It's extremely powerful.
Speaking
It is.
of Ed Norton, 1999, and dark movies, Fight Club was one of the most like controversial ones that we've done on the podcast. Not that I'm like stirring up a lot of controversy, but like people were really kind of like split on how they felt about Fight Club. What do you? Okay, I want to know what you guys think about it.
Okay, you go.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was it was a good film throughout. First of all, Ed Norton. Anything.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Ed Norton as an actor. He's just.
Me too.
And when you see him in American History X, it's like totally different role for him.
Yeah.
You know, because he usually kind of takes like that writer director approach. But I liked Fight Club. I mean.
Fight Club is the type of movie that demands to be watched at least twice.
Agreed.
Because after the end, and if you haven't seen it yet, whatever, but like you should, but like you got to rewatch it. You have to rewatch it after the end because it just makes you the rewatch. You're looking through a different lens, and so I think that's one of the most interesting things about it is because we were all bamboozled. You know, all of us were, and so that's what made that movie really fun and a cool rewatch. But then we were all like teenagers and adolescents when that came out, so. That inspired some real life events of fight clubs.
Yeah.
And I remember this one time, me and all the high school boys, we were all getting together, and of course there was some girls watching and stuff. And we all met next to at the time was a Hobby Lobby in Parker.
It's always in a parking lot of some sort of department store.
Absolutely.
It has to be.
It has to be.
And we did it. And I was hanging out like, you know, being the ref, like I didn't want to get involved.
Sure, you want it to be like in close enough proximity to be cool, but not enough to be in like real danger.
Yeah, I didn't want the to be in the center of
You
attention
didn't
there.
feel like getting any teeth knocked
Yeah,
out.
that was never my style.
God.
Yeah, I'm kind of a passive person, you know. So
We know this.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the cops all come. Everyone's all scrambling, you know. So that movie, you know, created
Inspired
some
that.
other memories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing that's so interesting about Fight Club is that as a movie, people might look at it and say that it ages well, just like as it is, but you really can't ignore the impact that it's had on culture, and some of those things certainly don't age well. Like you can't ignore that it prompted a lot of like violence, like real fight clubs, or like, you know, people using Tyler Durden as like their hero, even if that wasn't like the intention of the movie. So it's like you got to factor that impact in when you're thinking about like, does it age well?
That's a good way to look at it. I'll have to look at it a little bit more lucrative with a critical eye when trying to analyze if it aged well or not. Because like Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time. That goes on the list as my favorite. I've seen it probably realistically 18 to 20 times.
Wow.
A lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, to the point where I can almost recite the entire film back as it rolls. And so for me, being biased, of course, I think it aged well. But then you talk to people like, oh no, it was the second one. It wasn't that good. You know, first one's still better. So everyone's gonna have an opinion on it. But Ed Norton, he's done some hitters, especially in the '90s. Well,
yeah,
Primal
really
Fear. Did you watch Primal Fear, where he plays like that? He's got like a multi-personality.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's a
He's
crazy
great.
one. He's good.
I think I saw that.
Primal
one.
Fear is good. You've probably seen it.
What was that? The M. Night Shyamalan. Oh, wait, I'm saying his name wrong.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. Yeah.
People are probably listening to this and screaming at us.
M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, but he made the Broken and the Glass one and all those. But then that one where the guy had 23 personalities or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That was really. I know it's not Edward Norton, but. It was kind of he had the 23 personalities, and one of them was very demonic, and all the other personalities were do not let him. We don't want to see him, and this and that. I don't know if you guys.
Creates for a good story. It doesn't sound familiar. I mean, I've seen the multi-personality ones like Primal Fear,
right?
But I don't know if another one.
Yeah, I'm not familiar, but I'm still with you. I'm still intrigued.
And then they had Bruce Willis too, and he was the Mr. Glass, and then Samuel L. Jackson was the bad guy. So, no, Bruce Willis was Unbreakable, and then the other guy, Samuel L. Jackson, was Glass, and then I think that the guy that lost his mind was Broken or something. I think that's the names. And so it's 3 films about 3 different characters, and they all kind of are intertwined.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Cool. So it's fun when you have that kind of bridge in a movie where they get crazy and combine, and kind of tell different stories. I mean, so as a movie critic, how do you feel? Did you watch all the Marvel Cinematic movies? Do you feel like they did a good job carrying that over 20 years of story?
Okay, so I decided a couple months ago, I was like, all right, enough's enough. I'm going to watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all the movies from the beginning of a story to the end.
That's epic.
I've made it a third of the way through. I've lost some steam over the past few weeks. I had a friend. Well, okay, so a few weeks ago, I had a friend in town, and she is wild about Marvel, and so she was really holding me accountable to this commitment that I had made. But as I mentioned before, I really like to quit projects, so I have lost some steam on it, but. I do think this is actually, I'm glad that you brought this up because it reminds me that this is something I said I wanted to do. I wanted to figure out what the hype's about. I got to keep watching it. I even posted on my I've posted a bunch of shit on my Instagram story being I'm doing this and and not that people, I'm sure, even remember or care, but if they did, they'd be like, what happened?
Yeah, which film you on now?
Right. So I've watched Captain America, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and Thor, and what's the one after that? I've watched.
So you're not watching them in the order they were dropped. You're actually watching them in the order
chronological order. So so before I started this endeavor, I had seen Black Panther, and that's it. I loved Black Panther, but I think it was one of those movies that we can agree a lot of people who aren't usually into superhero movies were really into Black Panther. So I think that so far they've done a good job of tying things together, but I don't have the whole series yet. But you know what, everyone, if you're listening to this right now, please come bother me and tell me, Molly, are you still going to watch those Marvel movies?
So where can everybody find you since you're saying
people need to hold your feet to the
Yeah,
fire?
yeah, absolutely. Find me on social at Molly Bird Smith, MOLLYBIRD Smith. And you can also find the podcast at Did That Age Well? And either one of those ways you can get in touch with me.
Nice. Yeah, no, because that's a journey, but that's a big commitment. That's not I'm going to watch the Lord of the Ring movies.
No,
it's over 30 hours or something.
It's got to be more than that.
Oh, yeah, because it's 20 movies, and they're all fucking long. And some of these lists even include like the whole Loki series or like WandaVision. It's
Okay,
like
so you haven't watched
that. I'm already saying no. I
Yeah.
won't do it unless I get to that point and I am genuinely like, wow, I really want to watch
So I heard
this.
the Loki one was one of the better ones of those little spin-off series.
I've heard that as well,
then the
but I
Doctor
don't
Strange
like
one looks good.
Loki. I think
Yeah.
Loki sucks.
He kind of grows on you though. You have to once you get further along.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in this fight,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Kevin
Oh,
doesn't know.
you haven't seen any of them?
Very minimal.
Okay.
Yeah, less than 3%.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to weigh in on this.
Yeah.
But I like to
Oh,
Oh,
listen.
I
with
saw
that?
the Avengers. That's the other one that I
see,
saw.
I
Duh.
have
okay,
seen
yeah.
that. Yeah, I have seen that.
pretty good.
I've seen Iron Man. I've seen a couple things. Art's, we were talking about this the other night. I was getting some things confused, so it's obvious that I'm not real well educated in this topic.
I mean, you were talking earlier about how fans come up with some amazing stories.
Yeah.
And I love watching. I'm very much into Star Wars.
Love that.
Okay, so we could
For you.
We could
I mean,
geek
I
out on Star Wars.
No, I mean, I love that for you.
Oh,
I don't
that's
really
so-
know
that's-
much of
that's
anything
sweet.
about Star Wars. I'm sorry, I got your expectations
I know.
up,
I was about to be like, great.
down.
Kevin,
Great.
you can learn
Kevin,
some things. Yeah.
See you later.
That's usually what happens when these scenarios arise.
But yeah, so the point I was trying to make is I end up watching all these lore-based, legend videos
Yeah.
on all these different, things that I find interesting. And that's what, like, my TV is. Like, I don't like TV where it's reality TV and people judging people TV.
I agree.
Or, it's just because how do we want to feed our brain this week? This is a point I'm going to keep kind of reiterating this episode, I guess, because it's always good to give yourself a reminder. So if you find yourself in a rut where you're, like, looking at those sort of programs and you're because you literally feel, like, less fulfilled when you get entrapped in that. Like, I've been there where I'm, like, stuck on social media scrolling for way too long.
Yeah.
And you just feel like kind of like blah. Like, it's not fulfilling, right?
Well, and like a lot of these programs that you just mentioned was kind of what we talked about in the opening a little bit of that. I mean, I call it kind of fake because it is. It's fake behavior. These, these dating reality programs, they provide great entertainment, but I think they put out the wrong image for especially the younger demographic because that's what they're expecting that life is, and it's I don't know. I'm not hating on it. I think it's okay if people want to watch it. For me, it's just anytime I do, I just don't get a good feeling from it. And that's why I stay away from a lot of that. But I do try to keep somewhat up on current events, because mainstream media to me I think it's toxic. I try to stay away from as much as I can, but I also still try to pay attention on the big things like this Brian Laundrie thing that's going on. Have been watching this guy that killed his girlfriend, and they've been on this manhunt for like 3 weeks now.
Oh my God, yeah. This is another thing that I think is so interesting to hear, like what people's kind of like predictions are. I know that sounds really fucked up to make it sound like what I was just saying about like predicting the end of a show, but like I think it's really interesting hearing what people kind of like as they put these pieces together, kind of like what they think might have happened or like where he might be or whatever. I don't know. It's it's like really fucked up, but it's
a shitty situation.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to end. I really didn't even know about it until it was happening. Like I started to see it everywhere. You really couldn't get away from it.
Totally.
And then you start, looking at the story. It's horrible what happened to her, of course. And then this guy's just missing. He's just gone. And who knows? We got Dog the Bounty Hunter on it now. He's
God,
he's
yeah,
out
I
there
heard
tracking
that.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone's gonna find him,
Could be Dog.
How old is Dog now?
he's ageless, beyond age,
Like the Queen of England.
immortal.
He's from Colorado Springs.
Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's Colorado boy.
You're
but-
from Colorado, right?
Yeah, I grew up
Okay,
in Fort Collins.
I did remember that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
FOCO.
You two both grew up in Colorado too, right?
No, I'm from New England.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about this last time. You're
yes.
from
Denver.
South Denver, right?
Well, it's Denver, and then I, in my adolescence, grew up in Parker. So yeah.
Oh, that's right. Fighting outside the Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
And I was busy fighting lobster up in New England.
Oh, I bet you were.
Yeah.
I was just picturing him wrangling.
I didn't
lobster
wrangle
head.
any lobsters. I'm not going to put that out there. I never lobster fished once.
You've
Kev-
never.
Nope.
Little Kevy,
I did a lot of fishing, but not lobster.
Little Kevy, his mom was teaching him how to cook lobster.
Actually, she did.
And he had forgot that the rubber band had come loose. And so he's like holding the lobster, and he's holding the lobster, and its claws suddenly. And Kevy, as a kid, he's he's gonna get him, and then he like kind of drops it, sporadically into the boiling water, and splashes, almost hitting people, but everyone came out
was
okay.
safe except the lobster.
Did you just come up with that story?
Yes.
That's some fan fiction right there.
It could be believable if you know how delicate I am when it comes to maintaining situations,
Sure,
especially at a young age.
Yeah.
If the bands come off, the gloves are off, basically.
Oh, totally.
You got to keep those things banded up
Yeah.
when you're dropping it in the boiling water.
Oh,
you
you
want to go in
betcha.
there head first? No.
Didn't they say it's inhumane to boil lobsters?
I have no idea.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure I heard that. And did you guys know
that's how crawfish are done.
that snails scream?
I have heard
That
that.
snails can scream.
I have a snail.
They scream when you do what?
So if you burn them alive,
Why would you do that? Escargot?
it would be accident.
It would be escargot.
Or escargot, yeah. I
have a
accidentally
pet snail.
burned a snail alive in a fire. Like it was on the wood that I was throwing into the fire,
It's getting really dark.
and so I didn't even
Oh
realize.
my God.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a snail on that piece of wood.
And then you were like, who's screaming?
And it sounded like moisture was leaving. You know, when something gets really hot, there's like,
Yeah.
and so it was like that very kind of, it was audible, but it was, I was like, man, that's a lot of moisture leaving this piece of wood. And then it kept happening a couple different times. And then I ended up finding it, and I was like, oh no, there's a snail in here. And I thought it was already toast. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, buddy. Because like I was hearing it yell.
Yeah.
And then that was the longest scream I heard after that moment. It was like a good 60-second like snail scream.
Oh my God.
And I researched this. I had to do research to make sure, and sure enough,
Wow.
yeah.
That is so metal.
There's your interesting fact of the week.
Holy shit.
Snails scream when they're being burned alive.
Woo!
Who would know?
That
Yeah.
is dark.
That's pretty dark.
That's fascinating. My eyes are like,
You like that.
I wish I didn't, but I kind of did. I don't know. Something's wrong with me.
It's okay. It's okay. We all have our place, you know.
Yeah.
It's all right. That's hilarious.
Yeah, just know when you're making your escargot, you might hear an alarming sound.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
God.
I've never eaten snails, though. I will tell you that. But
I haven't either, not to my knowledge.
They're not that great.
I think they're kind of overrated. I mean, just because you're not getting a whole lot of meat out of that little shell.
It's
And
a
it's
tiny
sandy.
little.
It's like gritty. It's
Yeah, it's kind of how
they
clams
they
and
climb in the
steamers.
dirt their whole life.
Yeah, it's like what
steamers-
you think it would be. Like it's what you think it would be, probably.
Yeah,
You know?
I think so. And I have a shellfish allergy anyway, so
Oh yeah.
the
so
whole lobster thing goes right out the window,
Yeah. Well,
unfortunately.
there it goes.
But I did have experience cooking them when I was young.
So since we're on food,
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
if for snacky time, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
let's
time
talk about
it's time for
snacky time. Yeah.
snacks.
Yeah.
All right. Are you gonna give up sweets for the rest of your life? Are you
my
giving up all
God.
the sweets, all the sugary pastry sweets, stuff like
Okay.
that, candy bars, or are you giving up like chips, savory stuff like beef jerky? Like you can only snack on sweets or savory for the rest of your
savory.
life.
Wow. It just went from bad to worse. When you said sweets, I was like, whatever the other option is, that's going to be it. And then when you said savory, I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine my life without chips. I fucking love chips. I love pretzels. I love a salty snack.
Me too.
I do have a sweet tooth, but I'm
Okay.
going to say that salty, savory snacks prevail.
So what's your favorite chip then?
Oh my gosh. So the Trader Joe's restaurant style tortilla chips with a hint of lime.
Ooh.
Those are really where I've been gravitating lately, but damn, there's a lot of good chips out there. But
Oh,
yeah,
I've
the
had
Trader Joe's
some-
restaurant style.
Trader Joe's has a lot of good stuff.
They have the best snacks.
They do. They get a lot of good stuff.
High quality.
So you're keeping chips. You're getting rid
Yeah.
of sweets.
Ugh, heartbreaking, but yeah.
Okay.
Easy move for me. I'm going to go with that exact same argument. I like sweets from time to time, but I'm a beer drinker, so salt and beer go together. I love pork rinds, chips. Arthur knows I'm a mess. I'm a messy snacker because I really get into it. I tune out. I mean, I'm like a wood chipper. Shavings are flying off the
sometimes I'm
side.
just watching here and I'm just like,
And
what would
stuff's
your mother
everywhere
think?
on the floor.
Pork rinds everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
We're
a
going to
messy
invest in a mini vacuum for this place
Just because of me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you absolutely
It's
should.
not
It'll change-
100%.
It'll change your life.
It's like 80% me, probably.
Get a mini vacuum. You'll
We
love
need it.
Yeah.
We need it. I mean, there's probably remnants of snack debris in here right now.
Oh my God.
We'll
So-
slap a sticker on it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that probably the best purchase that I made in the past 2 years was my Dyson vacuum. I got myself a nice ass
Okay.
vacuum during the pandemic. I was like,
Treat
I got a
yourself.
dog, and I was like, you know what? I gotta get a nice vacuum, and I did. Honestly, Dyson sponsored me. This is 100% free plug, but come on. But Dyson, I would love to sing your praises because holy shit, when you go across a seemingly clean carpet and you get that fucking Dyson on there,
And you hear it sucking the shit out of
and
it.
then you look at the thing and it's like a pile of dog hair as big as my dog's little body.
It's so satisfying.
It's so satisfying. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think having a little mini vacuum in here will
It'll really go a long way.
it will go a long way. I think it's exactly what you need.
Yeah, we're adults now. We should
Yeah.
be
We've been
vacuuming.
adults for a long time, Arthur.
I mean, look at this place. It looks clean. It looks spotless, but you don't really know what's in there until you get in there.
There's,
you know?
there's some debris in this carpet, I'll tell you right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I've done some
whenever-
snacking in here.
Oh no, you go.
I've done a lot of snacking. But I'll tell you, to echo off that satisfying feeling, I love when the carpet looks decently clean and you can hear the debris hitting as it's being pulled out. I mean, it's just so
Yeah.
nice.
It
I
is.
love it.
It is. That's one of the things that, as an adolescent, I never thought I would find attractive.
Sure.
But now, anonymous, the vacuum, I'm just, it's a great thing. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm not attracted to that. Maybe that was the wrong word to use. But
Yeah.
there's something about
It's
it's
satisfying.
just so
It's so satisfying.
Like I have to do it. It's
Yeah.
just like I need to do that.
You should do it.
Absolutely. Guys, after this, let's all go home and vacuum
I'm going
our
home
floor.
and vacuum. My girlfriend's like, what are you
I can't
doing?
wait.
Don't stop me. I'm loving life right now. I'm enjoying the little moments.
You're just going to have to turn up Dateline. I'm
Yeah,
vacuuming.
absolutely.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm totally picking chips.
Chips,
All right,
100%.
I'm going chips.
Okay.
I love my sweets. I used to be worse with sweets, but now it's chips, and I have two top chips.
Okay.
My top is the kettle jalapeno.
So good.
Like those,
Dude, so good.
Yeah, they're it's trouble. It's trouble.
It's trouble.
And then the Zaps.
Voodoo. The New Orleans.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
New Orleans
yeah.
hitters.
I love Zaps.
Yeah,
They're hard to find. Not every store carries them.
That's true.
They're kind of like a geographical item. They branched out from New Orleans, and now they're in select areas. Not every store carries
It
them.
wasn't here when I was growing up, so that's
That's what I mean.
something that I've got to explore in the past couple of years.
It's a nice novelty when you find it in a store. And that's when, usually, if I see them, I'll buy them because I'm like, I don't know when this opportunity is going to come back.
If I ever move away from Colorado, I'm going to miss Boulder Canyon chips because those are one of my absolute favorite chips I've ever had. Top
Yeah.
3 favorites: the malt, vinegar, and salt
Yes.
crisps, or whatever the hell they call them. It's like that little purple and
Chips.
white bag.
It's probably chips.
Well, yeah, they're the kettle fried chips. They're really crunchy.
Yeah, yeah.
I like a
Those
crunchy
are super
chip.
good.
They're thick and crunchy.
So
They're
good.
thick with 2 C's and crunchy. You know what I'm saying?
Do you dig that salt and vinegar?
completely
Or am I
I
on my own?
do. I do. I love salt and vinegar. I love when I can feel it in my jaw.
It makes your mouth almost salivate thinking about it.
Yeah,
It
me
just
too.
happened to me.
See, that's that feeling.
Yeah, it's
our old
like-
host, Jamie, he's like, I'm not eating those. They give me mouth sores.
Okay, one time someone told me that that heroin tasted like salt and vinegar chips, and I just think that's not true.
Huh? I've never tasted heroin.
I've never tasted
I have
heroin
not
either,
either.
but I've had a
Yeah.
lot of salt and vinegar chips, and I just got to say, you know what? If anyone listening has a real answer to that, if you think that heroin tastes like salt and vinegar chips, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to just not believe that because I think that is so weird.
That is a pretty weird comparison.
Yeah.
Granted, zero experience with heroin.
Yeah.
I certainly hope it doesn't taste like salt and vinegar, but
No wonder
I
why
still
it's
won't
so
do it.
addicting.
I was
give me that salt and vinegar hit.
yummy.
No, we're not going that. down that dark alley.
No, man,
Nope.
the darkness.
The dark arts are everywhere. They're looming.
They are. It's spooky season, you guys.
Yeah,
What
we're
are you
in
gonna be for
October.
Halloween?
You know,
Oh.
I've been thinking about it for weeks, Molly. I just don't know.
great.
Last year I was Joe Exotic.
Oh my God! What a perfect.
It was so
He'll
good.
have
Perfect
to show
time
you
for
the
that.
picture.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
show
He
you when
did
we're
such
done.
a good
Send me the
job.
pic for sure.
I'll show you when
Yeah.
we're done.
Okay.
It was probably the best costume ever worn. I won awards because of it.
Amazing.
Best costume.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited about that. I needed that trophy to make me feel good about myself.
Yes, absolutely.
But
endorse
I even
that.
shaved the beard into the Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went that far.
Yeah,
Molly.
he went committed.
Wow, changed your face for a costume.
I
You
was
committed.
Committed for
I
sure.
love that.
Fake piercings. I did all of it.
Wow.
So for me,
Cool.
it's tough because I set the bar really high last year. I don't know what to do this year.
Oh wow. Yeah, you really set yourself up for failure this year.
I
You
thought
did too good last. You did too good last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do this year.
Oh, man. Shoot.
What are you shooting to be?
So I'm gonna be Guy Fieri or Guy Fieri,
Nice.
as some
Okay.
say. I got the costume last year, and then I didn't end up going out for Halloween, pandemic stuff. So I've got everything ready. I've got like a little visor with some blonde hair. I've got a shirt with flames. I've got the big jewelry. I've got what I need. And then my dog Izzy is gonna be a hot dog. Got our little hot dog costume.
That's
to
so
go with
cool.
me. Yeah.
And what kind of dog is it?
She's a mini Australian Shepherd.
Oh, fun.
I saw the
Yeah.
Instagram profile for this animal.
Oh yeah, she's got her own Instagram. I'm a millennial, so I have an Instagram account for my dog. But yeah, she's insanely cute. Like I ask her every day how she got so cute, and she just won't tell
So
me.
those dogs are notorious for being wiggle butts.
Yeah.
They have
Like
epic eyes.
Yeah. Oh my God. And my dog's eyes are like
Super epic.
constantly like, and it looks like she's surprised or startled or like trying to really get into your soul at all times. But that's just how her face is.
Well, I think that's going to be a great costume.
Thank you. What
Yeah.
about you? Are you gonna
So-
dress up for Halloween?
So I'm, ever since I got these glasses, I feel like
He's going to be Superman.
I'm dealing with.
I knew it was coming.
I actually have a couple things that I was going to.
Okay, all right.
Okay, okay.
You're right. I jumped the gun there.
He just thinks he knows. you know. Yeah. So with the glasses, and I feel like this is something that is helping me cope with the aging thing.
Sure.
Is because I was thinking about this before I was even thinking Halloween. I was like, all right. I feel like I'm the Beast from X-Men, right?
Okay.
Hank McCoy. He's big. He's hairy. And he's intelligent, and he can be lethal if needed. And
Love
so I was trying to embody that when I was looking at myself in glasses, getting used to it. So that was one. And then Kevin's kind of right as well, because I was thinking about like being like Clark Kent for Halloween.
Sure.
But a bearded Clark Kent. And
Nice.
then I would just wear like nicer clothes and then have like a Superman shirt underneath that.
Yeah.
Where it's like halfway to,
Yeah, because you can
So
bust
that's-
off the blazer and get to business.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that I'm thinking.
I think you pulled that off well.
I think that you could do both of those, like a Halloween weekend thing, like maybe Friday night be one, Saturday night the other, because like really all you don't really need a whole lot because you've already got the glasses.
Well, no,
So-
but Beast, I don't think you know who Beast is.
I don't.
So Beast,
I don't either.
Beast is a blue,
Oh, well, that might be hard.
basically creature man. So
Well.
he's like, I would have to like come up with a suit that was like blue, big and furry everywhere.
Okay, it would take some work.
And I would have to like do a mask or something. So I'm most likely doing. So Kevin was right. I'm
Okay.
most likely going to be Superman type of thing.
I think you'll pull it off well, Artie.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
think
excited.
so too. I really thought so. I thought maybe like the X-Man guy was like maybe his alter ego was a guy with glasses, kind of like Clark Kent situation. But yeah, I mean, pretty much with like any costume or any sort of like big ordeal, I always go for what's less work.
Yes.
I think Clark Kent's gonna
That-
clearly be less.
That
work.
one's going to be a lot easier.
Less work and less financially draining. Because some
That's for
costumes get
sure.
really expensive.
Oh my god, yeah.
So here's some pictures of
Okay.
the Beast.
Oh yeah, that's not gonna be easy.
No, see
That's
that one
not
would
gonna
be
be
hard
easy.
to pull off.
Yeah.
But that character is super cool. He's like one of the smart, nerdy guys like
Yeah.
of the X-Men, and everybody depends on him. And so I was trying to like channel my inner.
It would take some work.
Genius.
You could pull it off if you were really dedicated.
But Halloween is not really like my biggest thing. Like
It's never been my
I've
thing
never,
either.
Really?
Do you love Halloween?
I love Halloween.
Yeah.
I love candy. I love spooky stuff.
It's fun.
I love costume parties. I love the fall. I'm very much a Halloween kind of gal.
A lot of people love it. I really didn't get into it until I was about 27, 28.
Really?
So I've been doing it for the past 4 years. I've dressed up I was Bob Ross. I was a Secret Service. I was a police officer, and then Joe Exotic.
Wow. Solid 4-year run.
That's a pretty good run.
Man, you're going to have a tough time coming up with this one for this year.
I'm a little worried. Jamie thinks I should be Joe Biden and shave my face clean.
Wow.
Do the gray slick back and wear my aviators all night with a suit on.
Yeah.
That would be easy.
That would be easy.
And then just kind of give some thumbs up here and there. Like,
yeah, I think, that would be easy.
That's an easy one, though.
And then
I like a
develop
challenge.
run-on sentences and, like, that way you have the character. You got to get the character down.
Yeah, I could pull it off. Just maybe be confused for a little bit.
Yeah, I like that idea, but I agree that sometimes a challenge is fun.
I like the challenging ones, like Joe Biden or Joe Exotic. I played a character. I was him. I did the voice all night.
Yeah.
Fuck Carol Baskin. I mean, I really got into it. And that's I think what
awesome.
won me that title.
Absolutely,
So
you have to commit to the role.
You gotta
this
commit.
is method acting.
It is. Yeah, it is. So I don't know. To answer your question, I'm still weighing my options, and I
Sure.
don't have many to weigh right now. I just don't know what angle to take.
Yeah. Well, I guess you always have. Here's the thing about simple costumes is that you've always got them in your back pocket. You've got that as an option. So even if you end up going with something else, it's like if it's October 28th and you're like, oh my God, forgot to get a costume. Just throw on
You
a
can pull
suit,
something off, yeah.
shave your face, be Joe Biden.
Yeah, you're right. That's going to be my plan B.
Yeah.
You're going to look so young without a beard.
I know it's going to be. Well, I did it last year.
I felt like I lost
Because then I had to
friend.
shave everything after Joe Exotic. After Joe Exotic, I had to shave all that off and start over.
Yeah.
It's tough.
How far we come,
I mean, I've developed a relationship with my beard.
Yeah. How long have you had him?
I mean, he's been around for a while. He started off a little young guy just on the chinny chin chin.
Yeah.
And as time has continued, he's become more robust. And
Yeah.
I just feel like I look like a turtle if I don't
If you don't.
have a beard.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I want to be like turtle sort of thing.
We both look a little bit younger without beards, I would say. As I'm looking back at the old photo there.
Yeah.
We've been
we
bearded
got
for
a
a
beard.
while.
Beard's there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The beards, they're nice.
It's I don't know. It's just one of those things where if you can do it, why not? And it's a pain to shave every day. Like
Right.
it is.
I imagine.
But
on your face.
no,
On
but
your
like shaving your
face.
legs though, like
Yeah.
I feel like I got it easy just shaving my face.
No, I feel like I feel like there's more surface area, if you're shaving your legs, but like the face, like I have such a sensitive face. If I had to shave my face, I would be an absolute mess.
I know people
Yeah.
get like razor burn. I'm fortunate I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't even use shaving cream.
Whoa,
I
tough
literally
man.
just water.
That's aggressive.
Just water in the.
You're risking
in
some
the shaver.
cuts.
Oh my God.
You're risking some cuts.
That is equally as metal as that snail
Burning snails?
screaming. I am equally shocked to hear that.
That's just how my papa showed me, man. And
Wow, good for
and,
you.
It eliminates a lot of steps. I don't normally cut myself, so it's
Yeah.
I actually prefer the cheap like disposable razors where
Oh
you
my
get like the
God.
6-pack.
Dude, you're really risking cutting.
No, I don't
But
know,
look at
man.
his face. It looks great.
Yeah, that's true. You're doing
Man.
something right. So
I
just keep
trim
doing
it up. I trim it up every Wednesday. Got to clean it up for the cast.
Yeah.
And then it helps to do it once on the weekends because if you go too long, then I get these hairs that are in the crease of my neck.
Oh, and
Oh,
it gets
that's the worst.
itchy
Yeah,
and like,
and then that's
Catches
when
your collar and it rips out. It hurts.
Yeah.
ouch.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So,
Beard problems.
man, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
We got No Shave November coming. Are you going to commit?
I think I'm just going to keep it tidy.
No. Are you going to commit to No Shave November?
Well, I'm going to keep it tidy, but I'm going to... What does it mean?
No shaving. Zero shaving.
No, but that means I have to let my neck grow out?
Correct.
I'm not committing.
All right.
I will let this grow out as far as whatever, but like I can't do the neck hair. It's not worth a challenge to me.
Yeah. Honestly, you guys, sober October didn't work out for
It
you.
didn't work
No
out.
shave November, I think we just lower our expectations and we just live our lives,
That seems fair, Molly. That's a good perspective there, yes. Because we were going to do Sober September this year, We were down the back because this is the first year in 4 years I haven't done Sober October.
Wow.
So kind of a bummer, but I got into the booze business, so
So
there's that.
what can you do?
Yeah,
Booze.
the booze. It's a rough scene. So,
Wild renegades out there.
the challenges are fun though. Like if we're gonna do somewhat no shave November, I'm okay with modifying the rules.
Well, so
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, who's keeping score?
Yeah, so what we can
a good
do
point.
is just we can't trim it too far down, but we can get rid of the annoying areas.
All right.
Like I have
Yeah.
when the mustache grows in, like it will start affecting my upper lip and get it like really sensitive because like the hairs like they like prod into it.
Yeah.
And it gets very irritable.
When I go up my nose, it makes me itch.
Yeah.
Oh, ouchie.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we got to be able to maintain a little bit of.
We got a few more weeks
sanity.
to figure out what the rules are going to be on that.
Yeah.
What should the ladies portion be like?
Of No Shave November?
Yeah.
Probably the same thing, just like not shaving your body if you want. I mean, yeah.
You think it's doable?
Well, yeah.
Like
I mean,
for
to
you?
just like, well, for me, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like go back and forth thinking like, do I shave my legs because I like it? Or do I shave my legs because I'm like supposed to? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Oh,
do
yeah.
I think that I know what I like? I know it's a little meta.
no, I know
but
what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
the
I
meta.
feel like I would have no problem just like not shaving my legs for the month of November.
Just letting it rip, tater chip, yeah.
But I also don't really like to do like challenges because I don't like to fail. And I really only like to like participate in any kind of like competition or challenge if I'm like, oh, I know I'm gonna fucking rock this.
Okay.
So, you know,
I respect that.
so I feel like if I get halfway through November and I'm like, ugh, I guess I'll just
it
shave my
would be
legs,
so
then I'll feel like
annoying.
then I feel like I'm failing.
No,
you know?
because I mean, your leg hairs are growing in, like
Itchy.
It's
Yeah.
yoga pants season because the seasons are
true.
changing.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have all these
Yoga
tiny,
pants season.
all these little tiny hairs, like that would
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want to eat your Thanksgiving turkey with hairy legs? That's
I
what you
mean,
got to ask yourself.
That's a
If
good
you're
question.
willing to say yes, I am,
Yeah.
then you're in.
I think there is a threshold. I think probably similarly to like how you guys shave your face, like there's a period where it's like prickly and uncomfortable. But then once you get into kind of like the fuzzy furry realm, then it's like whatever.
The
And
itchiness goes
some
away.
winters I do. Like during the
that
pandemic,
extra
like
layer.
God, I probably did a no shave November the last pandemic, but it wasn't a challenge. It was just a way of life.
You're
so
just like, yeah, this is what it is.
yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're comfortable with it, you're like, that's what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
so one thing that I'm going to give you a hard time about
Cool.
is you said that you didn't like to fail, and I understand that, but at the same time, success is born through failure.
I know. It's so true. From an ideological standpoint, I am right there with you.
Okay, but it's just because you mentioned like the hard to commit to things, and that's
Sure.
why the podcast is such an awesome thing that's cruising
Yeah.
heavy. So that could be just a little challenge is maybe doing something that you're a little afraid of.
Yeah.
Or so, for example, my dad sails boats. He's done that, and it always scared me, and he would always have me working on the boat.
Yeah.
Right. So I just feel a little uncomfortable doing that, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get on the boat this weekend, and I'm gonna
for you.
go sail with him, and I know that it'll be a fun memory, but I kind of have to like go through that moment of like that learning curve, like I don't know what this is, and
Right.
like why you're barking orders, and shit, we can crash right now.
Right.
Like, I know.
Am I ever gonna make my dad proud?
Yeah, I'm trying to face that fear.
Yeah. Good for you. Hell yeah. You're an inspiration. I'll do something that
Oh,
challenges
no.
me.
Yeah.
And I'll circle back with you guys. Because
Yeah.
if you're doing it this weekend, I'll do something this weekend that challenges me. Don't know what yet,
Okay.
but I'll do it.
Okay, so
Damn, now I got to do something.
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at you.
Everyone's gonna have to figure it out.
We're all doing challenges. Yeah, because I
Uh-huh.
did do Sober October, so I'm going to have to do some sort of probably maybe a fitness challenge maybe.
Yeah.
Just something that's out of our regular routines. Let's
Right.
make ourselves slightly uncomfortable. And from that discomfort, we might find a new, something that we love a little bit more.
It's true, man.
I don't know.
True.
I guess that's my believe and achieve for the week, is believe in facing something that might make you feel uncomfortable or that you don't know that well, and achieve braving through it. And because that's a good place to start, because everyone wants to feel comfortable and everyone can get complacent. It's easy, and it's good to have downtime and to relax. I'm not saying you got to be 100% on all the time, but the clock's ticking, and why not do some things that challenge ourselves? I don't know. That's kind of fun for me to talk about that, and hopefully this reaches people's ears and they get that feeling. All right, I'm gonna challenge. Well, it just happened to Kevin, so
it
there
can
we go.
happen to anyone.
Yeah, if it can happen to Kevin, it can happen to anyone.
That's the hashtag of the episode right there.
That's exactly right.
I love that.
What a great evening.
Yeah, for sure. So everybody tuning in.
It's been a long one.
You got to check out Molly. She obviously has awesome energy. Is killing her podcast. She's doing the CQC. We talk about it all the time. She's being consistent.
Quality.
She's bringing good quality, and she's bringing good
Great
content every single week. So y'all got to check her out. What a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you on tonight.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much for having me back. I can't wait to have you on the Did That Age Well podcast. And yeah, I was just I was so flattered that you guys reached back out again. I was like, it's about time that we hung out again. So this was really good.
We were due. The timing was right. The fall was here.
Yeah.
The seasons are changing.
We got to reconnect with old friends.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
See how people are doing, how we've all progressed,
That's right.
And life is a journey. Make it what you want to make it.
That's right, man.
And like I always like to talk about, we got work to do this week. The week's not over yet.
It's never over. There's always more to be. There's more work to be had.
There always is.
So let's do that. Let's face it with a good optimistic energy. Like Kevin, I want to use him as a quick example. Like when you got that work call, you jumped up. You said, "Hey, I got some stuff I got to go do." You didn't bitch about it once. And you just went out there and handled it. That's how we should all handle our stuff and not let little things get to us, right?
That's it, man. You got to believe and achieve. Let it rip, tater chip. Challenge yourself. Get outdoors. Connect with someone you haven't talked to in a while. I'm going to pull a book out of John X's page out of John X's book. One of the things I love when he was on our cast that he recommended, I'm going to recommend to everyone. Scroll to the bottom of your text list right now. The last person you texted at the very bottom, reach out to them and see how they're doing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going to re-echo that point because that was about a year ago he recommended that, and it was a life-changing experience. I reached out to somebody and rekindled. So you just never know. Like you said, you just never know until you reach out. What's the worst that's going to happen? Great time to reconnect. The holidays are coming, guys. Just a great time to reconnect like we did with Molly Smith tonight. Be sure to check out her podcast, Did That Age Well? She's the creator, the host, the driving force behind it. We're going to include everything in the show notes down below so you won't miss a beat. Molly, so fun.
Yeah, it's so fun to see you guys. Thank you.
We'll do it again.
We'll be back.
Absolutely. We're going to keep hitting that CQC, checking those boxes, keep rocking the week. Be good to yourself.
You deserve it.